Yo, Novatos, thanks again for tuning in to yet another video. Infamous coming at you live from the West Coast yet again, San Jose, California. Another beautiful day here in Cali yet again. Winter has arrived. It was chilly this morning. It was chilly. But I think we're in the high 60s right now. Beautiful weather, not a cloud in sight. Look at that, guys. Absolutely gorgeous. So this is the Lowrider S, the Lowrider S. I keep on calling it a Lowrider ST. T's for touring, not sport. So special touring, not sport touring. These are different models. So this is my Lowrider S with the FXRT from Dominator Fairings, or Dominator Motorcycles. Yeah, Dominator Motorcycles. I've been getting questions about my audio system. People have been asking me, can you please make a video on your audio setup? I have a whole playlist that I have yet to upload on the channel of just the audio system. Okay, I have the installs, I have the brackets, I have the soldering, I have the actual setup, the parts list. I have all of those videos ready for me to edit, and I haven't gotten around to it. So let's go ahead and look at what do we have here. You guys can see I have a JVC Bluetooth amp. Very neat, very inexpensive. I also have Rockford Fosgate. These are 5 1/4 speakers, kind of like what you get on the Plex audio, but those are T152s. These are P152s. Okay, so they're still a 2-in-1 speaker system. They do the job. Okay, I like them. They sound great. They sound amazing. You could also see on top of that, all my risers, of course. It looks a little bit too much. I don't know, you guys can let me know in the comments, but those are 4-inch kicker speakers. Those are also 2-in-1 speakers, but those are in the kicker. They call them high towers or enclosures. I call them speaker pods, okay? But those are the 4-inch. These are the black version. You could get these in chrome and black. The only con against these is the bracket itself. For some reason they don't sell them in black, so they kind of stand out a little bit, or I don't know, they probably stand out a lot, because I mean they're right in your face. So let's talk about, man, where do we start? The amp is a 600 watt what do they call it, marine amp. So it's weather sealed, it's dust proof, weatherproof. You're gonna have to check out the videos, but overall I'm really digging the amp. Okay, it's got a few features. You could connect it to 2 different devices, so it's got a pairing mode for 2 different devices at the same time. The original device, though, the first device that pairs with it, gets to automatically connect with the amp as soon as you turn the bike on. So that's very, very neat. Okay, compared to my other speaker systems, I would always have to turn the bike on, except for the what is the Kuryaken Road Thunder soundbar. That one was connected to the bike, and it would automatically connect to my phone, which was quite neat. Plex audio, you gotta turn it on. You gotta push the button and you turn it on. You could always rewire that, but I don't want to get into that, in this video. And then of course I also had the Boss. That was also another one where I had to turn the speaker system on. So moving on to I guess some of the features of the amp. Like I said, it's sealed, weatherproof, dustproof, vibration proof, which is something that you really got to have on a Harley-Davidson, especially if it's mounted underneath the fairing. So I do have a bracket system that I made for the amp. The amp is larger. The amp will not fit in your FXRT fairing. So if you're looking at getting this amp, you would have to get the bracket, and I made my own out of carbon fiber. I don't think you'll be able to see it from here. You can't see it, but it's a carbon fiber bracket that I made myself on my own. You could buy the bracket from Clockworks. They made their own bracket. And right after I made my bracket, I don't know if they hacked into my videos or my channel or whatnot, but their bracket is exactly the same setup as mine. So, like I said, I don't think you'll be able to see it No, you can't see it. You'll just have to see the install video so you guys can see how that's mounted. But it's mounted right where the fairing mounts. So it's tucked in. Not only is it, weather sealed, vibration proof, all this other stuff, it's protected from the elements because of the fairing. It's got a nice enclosure around it. So you have that. The amp itself is, like I said, it's a weather sealed, so you don't have your old school terminals that plug in, or you gotta, you put it in, the tighten it down. It's not like that. You have to solder the wires, you have to solder the lines onto your speakers and your power source and all this other stuff. So it's a little bit more work in that sense, but it's got, it's got some features, especially for the 4-inch speakers that you see right here. Before I set the high pass filter on them, they sounded like crap. Okay, they sounded horrendous. They sounded really, really bad. So there was a lot of distortion coming out of these. So I went ahead, I got back underneath of there, and I turned on the high pass filter, and I set it to 120 on these. So any frequencies below 120 are filtered out by the amp, which is, neat. That is neat. And these, I was getting a lot of bass. The reason why I set the high pass filter on these is because I didn't want to blow out the speakers. So there was a lot of bass with the high pass turned off. I went ahead, and while I was there, I turned on the high pass filter on the 5 1/4, and those are now at 80 hertz. So anything below 80 hertz gets filtered out. So I get a lot of clean sound from these speakers. All right, and it is pretty loud. Okay, I measured with my dB meter. I measured it right here where I sit at max settings. I'm not going to say volume because I keep on messing it up. Volume, max volume. There we go. So I took my dB meter, measured it, and I got 110 decibels from this location. Okay, the closer you're going to get, of course, the louder it's going to be. So it's 110 decibels. I believe I was playing the audio from Spotify. And I don't know if it's me, or I'm not entirely sure, but I believe Spotify seems to have some kind of a safety audio system, so it plays it a little bit lower, because when I've been listening on my Apple Music, it just seems, I don't know if it was the music, or I don't know, it's just the Apple Music tunes seem to be a little bit louder. So that's that. Okay, I'm just gonna say 110 decibels right here, which is pretty loud. 4-speaker system. I think, and in all honesty, I think the reason why it's so loud at 110 decibels, I believe it's because of the speakers are just closer to the rider. They're closer to me. I also got a decibel meter from my Plex audio. Those maxed out at 106 decibels for the Plex audio. But keep in mind, the Plex audio speakers sit right behind my risers. So, I mean, we're talking a difference of maybe about 10 inches. The speakers are closer to you. If you've had the Kuryaken Road Thunder soundbar, they recommend you mounting those speakers on your handlebars. You could read it in the instructions. You got to put that soundbar as close as possible to your face. So, even though I mounted my speakers here, those speakers, man, you can't hear it for anything. All right, I'd like to swear, use a swear word, but I couldn't hear my audio system with the Kuryaken. It really is just a waste of money, in my opinion. Okay, so if you guys also seen my FXRT fairing video, and I mentioned the Rockford Fosgate setup on that fairing, you also, like I said, I mentioned that the audio system on that, they sit on the inside of the fairing. So not only is it further away from this setup, it's also further away than the Plex audio, and it doesn't have the same wattage as the Plex audio. I believe their system is 500 watts. I believe, I can't remember off the top of my head. But not only that, your speakers are not even angled up towards the rider because of the setup of that soundbar from Rockford Fosgate for the FXRT. The speaker seems to sit on the inside of the fairing, pointed towards your chest. So that's the reason why, you know, there's been quite a few complaints about the FXRT Rockford Fosgate system. So sorry if I'm, you know, rambling. It's just I'm trying to get everything in this video. So overall, the system has been great. The installation is a little bit difficult because of course it's a custom piece. You gotta, you know, you gotta drill out your fairing. You gotta make holes in your fairing on your expensive fairing. We're talking about thousands of dollars. You gotta make holes, and you gotta get it right, or else it's gonna, you know, it's gonna cost you more work. You could repair it. It's gonna cost you more work. You could see on this side, I actually, when I was hitting it with the jigsaw, I went ahead and I scratched my fairing up. I did use the masking tape, but you know, it was really tough cutting this material. Extremely tough. I went through 2 blades cutting this fiberglass. This one, for some reason, it's freaking like this thick. I think it's like a 1/4 inch or 1/8 of an inch. It's really thick. This other side, however, it's not that thick. For some reason, this one just had more layers of fiberglass. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, like I was saying, Rockford Fosgate, the speakers sit on the inside of the fairing, and they're pointed towards your chest, which is one of the reasons why, of course, it doesn't sound that loud. And then, of course, they sit behind the Plex audio. Your Plex audio sits here. Rockford Fosgate, they sit over here. So, you know, the further away you are from the speakers, it's not going to sound as amplified as it could. So, of course, you're dealing with wind noise. You're dealing with you know, the sound of your exhaust, and then of course you're battling other stuff. Another thing, of course, is your helmet. Depending on what helmet you have, that's going to vary between being able to hear your audio system or not. I have a Rockford 4.0 helmet. All right, let me tell you guys, the Rockford 4.0, it is extremely silent. It is there's almost no noise with that helmet. So when I'm riding around with my Plex audio and the Rock, I can't hear it as well as I can with my other helmets. So that's just something that you have to keep in mind. If you can't hear your audio system, it's probably because your helmet is just too good. Okay, so that's not a knock against Rock. It just shows you how well the audio noise, the control is, or whatever you want to call it, is really that good on the Rockford Atlas 4.0. Sorry guys, it's a lot to mention and stuff like that. So overall, I'm happy with it. I really like the way it looks. You guys can see that I made a little doozy here trying to customize the speaker grill, but I already have another speaker grill. I ordered them on eBay. They were like, how much were they? They were like $15. You can buy these speaker grills with the Rockford Fosgate through eBay. I was also trying to get the Rockford Fosgate for these speakers, but for some reason Rockford Fosgate does not make speaker grills included with this audio setup. I don't know, but I really dig the way these look, that black and gold. I really like it. And of course you can see that that it's exposed. You could also see it on here. You know, there's a little tweeter there. That's also tweeter. So as far as, you know, the crisp sound of the audio system, it's great. I don't know if I should turn it on. I mean, I'm not allowed to play copyright music on the channel. I don't know. I don't think the video here. Let me close my visor. I don't think the audio will make much of a difference on the setup. I mean, playing it, of course, you could already see it already took over. You have a bunch of presets as well. You have 7 different presets, which is quite nice. The buttons are nice and big as well. And the Bluetooth, you can see it was almost instant. It connects, and of course you have a large knob here. So if you're riding with your gloves on, you don't, like I said, you don't have to worry about the touch or anything like that. Kind of like on my phone. The gloves that I've been riding with, they've worn out, and my display is no longer responsive with my Revit Fly 2 gloves. So it's nice to kind of have this little media device. You cannot put a head unit on this, or you can't connect a head unit because it's only Bluetooth. So if you're planning on using a head unit on the fairing, I've seen some setups where people put a head unit on the fairing. It's not going to work. Everything is powered off of Bluetooth. So I guess you could, in a sense, have a head unit that's connected via Bluetooth. So like I said, you could connect two different devices. So you could connect the phone, and as your secondary device you could connect a Bluetooth head unit or whatever, maybe like a Kindle or something small, or a Fire, whatever you call it, those tablets, or maybe a Samsung. I guess you could hook up a Samsung 7 or whatever you call those tablets, and you could mount it in your fairing if that's what you wanted to do. Like I said, you could connect two different audio systems. So let's go ahead and just play a little bit.
Don't write in your bitch like O'Neal,
So you guys can hear it. Like I said, playing the audio in these videos, it doesn't, I mean, you don't really get a sense of how loud it is. I don't know why people complain about not being able to hear the audio system. You can't really hear it, not through YouTube, for the same reason that listening to the audio on the exhaust in these videos. I mean, I upload them. It's just that you really can't, it just sounds completely different when you're in person and when you're watching it on YouTube. So overall, neat little device. The amp, I'm loving it. I love how it connects to the phone automatically. I turn it on, I don't have to reach in there. You guys can see that I have a rat nest of wires here. That's because I can't internally feed my wires into the Kraus setup. So when I had the Plex audio, I would always have to kind of fight the wires and stick my finger in there and turn it on. I also went ahead and I added these 4-inch speakers because of, a lot of you guys don't want to drill into your fairing. So this is one of the things you could do. You have just barely enough clearance. You can see that. Can you guys see that? There's enough clearance here. So I put these as low as possible because I don't want to see them all the time. So you can see there's just enough clearance for the speaker pods and your FXRT. If you don't want to drill into it, you could do this. People have asked me, can I install the Plex audio with this system? I don't think you can. Alright, the only one that you could use the Plex audio is the FXRT. They have a specific bracket for that one. I doubt you'll be able to fit the Plex audio with this system. I don't think so. I just don't think there's enough room because, it turns, and then you also have these corners. So I believe, if it fit, then Plex Audio would sell it to you. You could install spacers on the mounting. You could get longer bolts and push your fairing out more. But I just think it's going to look terrible if you push that fairing out towards the front of the bike and away from your fuel tank. You'll have a big old gap here, and it's not going to look right. So that's just my 2 cents. If you're wondering about the speaker pods, I think they're pretty good. I haven't had any issues so far. They also sell the 5 1/4 for a bigger speaker, but I just here, I'm gonna turn off the bike. I just don't know. You could get it to fit, obviously. You can move these onto the handlebars. You could get the speakers closer to you as well. You'll be able to hear your tunes a little bit better as well. Because if you're moving it from here, you're moving it over here, you're moving it by about 7 inches. You're getting it closer to yourself, so you'll be able to hear it. But I just don't like seeing the speaker pods up here. The same thing with my Boss system. I had them mounted down over here by my forks. So this is probably as low as you could go with the speaker pods and the FXRT fairing. Without the FXRT fairing, you can move these down even more. You can move them down here. You can see there's a little arm right here, so that's really quite neat. The reason why I use this, of course, is one, I wanted to mount it as lowest as possible, and two, you can see that I have the pullback on the system. So these are the Kraus pullback, and I can't mount these speaker pods on the pullback. So that's why they're down here. And like I said, there's enough clearance. The speakers look good. They're loud. They sound extremely clean. It's a super clean sound, just like the Plex audio. I think the Plex audio, the Rockford Fosgate, they have their own high pass system. Filtering, you could add high pass filtering on any of your speakers, but you would have to, of course, you have to tap into your speaker wire and solder it, through there, I believe. But like I said, the amp has everything. It's got the Bluetooth, it's got the vibration, the weather seal, the actual controls where you modify all of the high pass and the low pass. You also have low pass options. So you could set up this, and you could obviously set up subwoofers in your saddlebags if that's what you want to do. You also have RCA cables. You could add an additional amp. I don't know if you'll be able to see them through here because mine are hanging down over there. So you can see them right behind my S1s. I got to manage all these wires. But yeah, they're right there below the S1. So you could add an additional amp and connect them via RCA. So, it's a neat little amp. It's got a lot of features. I'm really impressed. As far as, like I said, having 4 speakers, I don't think it makes a huge improvement. I just believe it's because of these speakers being a little bit closer to me. I'm able to really hear my tunes at 95, 98 miles per hour. So you guys can let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? That's the audio system on my FXRT. Only cons, I gotta say, it's just the amount of work, the soldering because of the amp. There is no quick terminals where you put a Phillips screw in there and install it and remove it. The axis, I guess, another con. If you want to change the sound of the speakers with the high pass, low pass filtering, you'll have to really get underneath there and remove that seal plate because it's got a plate. You got to remove the seal plate so you could get to the controls. I guess you could, give that as a knock, not being able to access that. The price, it's fantastic. The price, so that's not a con. That's, if not, then the Rockford Fosgate. That amp alone is like $500-$600. This one, half of that price. I think the other con, I guess, is just the brackets. These are silver. Like I said, they don't sell them in black. That sucks. I mean, it would have been nice. I could always, of course, paint them myself, which is probably what I'll maybe do. Or maybe I'll just remove them altogether just to kind of clean up all this cluster that I have on the bike. But, yeah, so, hey, if you're out there looking to make holes on your bike, you could do this. I guess, we'll touch upon that as well. Okay, I have the Dominator FXRT fairing. You can see this little lip really digs into the speaker mount. So this is pretty much right on the edge. If you have RWD or if you have one of those other options, I don't believe you have this lip, so you have more of a little bit of an easier installation because it's just a flat surface. This one, I just had to grind down the little impact on the back of the speaker just to kind of make it sit flush. There's people, mentioning, hey, I can move the speakers inward. That way it's flat over here. But I think the way they sit now, it looks really good. I like how they're just at the edge of the fairing. Looks really neat. Somebody suggested I should have gone 6.5. But I didn't want them overhanging on the inside of the fairing. So that's the reason why I went with the 5.25. I was really thinking about moving the 4-inch speakers into the fairing and just keeping it like that, but I really wanted the bigger speaker. So that's pretty much it. As far as the cabling, there's a lot of cable with this right here. Okay, so you can mount that amp, you can mount it in your saddlebag. If I remember correctly, this cable for your Bluetooth connector, that is about 10 feet. That is a lot on this bike. That's a lot of cable. All right, so all of that cable is underneath my dash cover right here. So I have about 8 feet of wire underneath of this. And then, of course, if you could see the remote cable, no, you can't see it. the connections are well sealed. They have like a caulking on them too as well. So it's really it's a high quality amp overall for the price. And you know, it's just the sound and everything. It sounds fantastic. So hey, thanks for tuning in to yet another video. This seems like a long video. I don't know. You guys, let me know in the comments. What do you guys think? You know, a lot of you guys have mentioned how clean the Bluetooth receiver. Look at that. It's already connected. How clean the Bluetooth receiver looks on the dash. So you know, I'm digging it. I like it. You guys stay out there, stay safe. Thanks for tuning in. Life's a risk. Get out there and ride. Later.